The glitz and glamour of the elite is something not many have the insider scoop on. The rich and the wealthy are ideals the most, illusions of grandeur. That's the appeal of Gossip Girl, an inside look at Manhattan's elite, full of drama, privilege, and elegance. It still holds up today as a teen drama, but not so much as a look at the rich. In its later run, the show often villainized the poor and glorified its wealthier characters. Today, I will be analysing the characters that Gossip Girl drove into the ground and talking about how their characters evolved across the 6-season run, but also how the messy writing of the CW soap tainted the legacy of these iconic characters. Let's get into it.
XOXO.
Trailer talk. Jenny Humphrey is an icon. Sorry, not sorry. Taylor Momsen perfectly portrays a young teen girl who wants to be well liked. She makes mistakes, acts bitchy and annoying, but always ends up being the bigger person. The fandom likes to paint Jenny as the villain, but she never really was. In season 1, Jenny is easily one of the best characters. For the first part of the season, she is bubbly and eager to be friends with Blair. She is realistic in the way she acts and sees the world, with bright eyes just as someone her age would. Compared to her classmates, Jenny is not rich, so she must compensate for this with killer instincts and fashion. She bends over backwards to help everyone, but always ends up the problem. Take the debutante episode. Allison makes it a big deal that Jenny and Dan come to her art show, but when both of them should go to the ball instead, only Jenny gets punished. Allison tells her to think about who she's becoming and then leaves town. She is missing an important time in her daughter's life, but is complaining when she does her best to fit in. Then, after Blair's taken down, Jenny fills the gap, becoming the new Queen Bee. One of my favourite scenes in the whole show is when she realises that now she has the power and orders someone reminiscent of early in the season Jenny to do her bidding. Being financially challenged, Jenny struggles to keep up with her elite school friends and has to resort to shoplifting. Rufus gets angry at her, but he doesn't realise that he has put her in an environment of wealth. They can't expect her to just be poor little Jade. After Rufus convinces her to focus on fashion again, she gets really into it and decides it's her passion in life. She clearly has had a hard time at school and has a great opportunity to follow her dream, but Rufus won't allow it. When she tries to fit in, she's shamed, and when she doesn't, she's shamed. No wonder she acts out. The graduation of the original cast serves as an opportunity for Jenny to take over as queen, being more nice than Blair. However, Blair projects her insecurities about college onto Jenny, and through manipulation forces her to become ruthless. She goes down a dark path, pushing away her one good friend Eric and even dealing drugs. They portray her depression as villainous, as she's put in the middle of Serena and Nate's relationship. Everyone calls her childish and selfish, as if she has not been constantly pushed around and kept from being herself. She craves her old life back before the evil rich changed her and her father didn't believe in her. For this she is crucified, and in her moment of disparity, she sleeps with Chuck. Of course, Blair, being the anti-feminist she is, only blames Jenny for this, childishly banishing her. Even her own father tells her to leave town. This poor 17-year-old girl has to leave because everyone is badly influencing her. How is she the issue here? She only comes back in season 4 as a punching bag. She seems to have found some form of inner peace, but again finds herself stuck between Chuck and Blair. Her character development is then thrown out the window immediately as she is brought into the Juliet plot. Again, her father only blames her, even though it was a group revenge plot, and then she just leaves again.
I can't beat you. In order to beat you, I'd have to become you, and I'm better than that.
Jenny comes back in the series finale for a brief second, where it hints that she got back into fashion, but it's not enough. She is easily the most emotionally complex character, but she's hated by everyone. By the end of her run as a main cast member, not one character liked Jenny, and my question is, why? What did she do to deserve this? Be forced into a place she didn't belong? Be shamed for changing herself to fit in? Being reprimanded for chasing the dream she was crucified for putting aside to be cool? Being forced back into the toxic environment by Rufus that changed her before, and shockingly, being changed again, making her depressed and turned to dealing and trying to form a connection from the one person who cared about her, Nate. All the problems Jenny causes are because of the circumstances Rufus and Blair put her in. For the show to make a victim of the wealthy's privilege, the antagonist, really sends the wrong message for what Gossip Girl was trying to be in the early days. A satirical look at the rich.
Goodbye, Jenny from Brooklyn.
Vanessa, you're Nate, right?
Then there's Vanessa Abrams. When first introduced in the 6th episode of Season 1, she was only really there as a foil in Dan and Serena's budding relationship. Her edgy, eat-the-rich personality set her apart from the rest of the ensemble and made her a target for characters like Blair. Vanessa's character really shines through in the Season 1 episode School Lies, where she is filming a documentary and accidentally gets footage of Chuck and Blair. I have no idea why this girl was always filming a documentary without the consent of the people she's filming, but anyways, she ends up taking a bribe from Chuck to give him the footage, but she doesn't give it, instead giving it to Blair, who pays her rent for a whole year, which is literally insane. This makes Vanessa seem cool in one way, as she's clearly a feminist, but also hypocritical, as she spends so much time dragging the Upper East Side, but then takes money from them. Her first major storyline is with her relationship with Nate, which I thought was really sweet. Their polar opposite dynamic was really fun, and they had good chemistry, but as they went into Season 2, Vanessa was pushed to the side. She was always just randomly filming a documentary or sleeping with Chuck. She felt like a side character. She ruins Nate and Jenny's relationship so she and Nate could get back together, only to break up because of their differences, which already happened. Luckily, she was much better in Season 3. Vanessa really thrives in college, finally getting with Dan and actually getting some good opportunities from her documentary she's been making. She took center stage in the Scott and Olivia storylines, but having great chemistry with both, before her and Dan kind of go on the back burner for the second half as their relationship develops. They have some pretty basic storylines about their early stages of relationship, but also some interesting ones about two people dating in the same field and the competition of that. Then she just leaves for the final 2 episodes, and Dan cheats on her. Now we get to the true downfall of Vanessa's character. Season 4. In this season, all Vanessa does is meddle, lie, and eavesdrop on conversations. She gets back with Dan to raise another woman's child, moves in with him, then gets dumped by him after Juliet throws her under the bus. Then for some reason allies herself with Juliet to hurt Serena, and throws Jenny under the bus to Rufus. They were doing the most to make us hate Vanessa. She comes back later on in the season where she just overhears a bunch of conversations as an excuse to bring her into the plot. This poor girl gets manipulated by Ivy to look like a villain to Dan. He completely drops her, saying they're not even friends. In her last act on the show, Vanessa publishes Dan's book for him because she loves him, and then she just dips for Barcelona or something. She comes back for a split second in the series finale, making a peanut butter sandwich, but honestly, you can't help but feel bad for her. The people of the Upper East Side ostracized her from day one. She was always their punching bag, someone caught in their drama. She loses the one friend she truly cared about to this world and ends up all alone in a different continent, not even invited to Dan's wedding. They want you to see Vanessa as a villain by making her do all these crap things, but none of it warrants how she was treated. To make the most relatable character to the audience, the antagonist is not a good look. I think we need to talk about him. Jenny's brother Dan Humphrey is an interesting case, as he starts out the show one of the best characters. He is smart and witty, relatable and awkward. He's your everyman. His relationship with Serena is so cute, but that soon gets ruined as it becomes your average teen soap. In season 2, he goes from girl to girl, making dumb choices and becoming quite unlikable. His literary dreams are put on the back burner until season 3, when even then they only come up in argument with his then girlfriend, Vanessa. After spending season 4 pining after Serena and then randomly hooking up with her fake cousin, he finally gets a juicy storyline again in season 5 with his book plot. Inside is one of my favourite storylines in the whole show. It does, however, revert his character development to being an outsider again. This ostracization continues into season 6, where he randomly teams up with his sworn enemy Georgina to publish even more tell-alls about his friends, which completely goes against everything he learned from the Inside debacle. He literally gets punched in the face by Nate and told to go away in one of the last episodes. He suddenly has a little villain arc before, out of nowhere, switching back to the good side and then freaking revealing himself as Gossip Girl. I'm not going to argue that he didn't make sense as Gossip Girl, because a lot of the proof against it can be disproven, but this just completely wrecks any character development we thought he had gone through. After tormenting his friend group for years, he ends up marrying Serena? What the hell? From season 1, they were portraying Dan as an outsider who didn't care about getting in. Then in season 5, they switched him to an outsider on the inside who judged everyone. Then the last few minutes, he is shown to be an outsider who wanted to get in by posting anonymously on a website for years, exposing the secrets of his supposed love life and own sister. They want us to feel satisfied with him getting a happy ending just minutes after revealing he's the reason Blair's baby died. This show made Dan, the relatable chill guy from a working class family, into an evil mastermind. In season 1, they satirized the wealthy, but I guess they forgot about that, deciding to make them heroes and the poor the villains. The only characters who end up alone are the poor characters, Jenny and Vanessa. The other poor character, Dan, only ends up happy because he became wealthy. For a show that was so smart in its early days, Gossip Girl really villainized its audience. Did they think everyone watching was rich as well? This show was just as out of touch as its characters. Not as out of touch as the reboot, though. Thank you guys so much for watching. Just a reminder that voting is now open for the first annual Trailer Talk Awards. To vote, go to the community tab of my channel where polls are open for all 9 categories. Make sure you go and vote. Have a great day. Bye.